What's going on, Lotus Tribe? Welcome to another episode of ThinkPeace, the place where we have deep reflections, soulful reflections, in order for us to show up each and every day a little bit better, being the best versions of ourselves. I'm so glad that you took the time and the moment to be here with me as we get deep and we get into our souls and dive deeper. Thank you for journaling with me. So, this prompt, I know the last prompt was a little bit, it was a lot. It was a lot. It's okay. That's what we do. We can get through it. We in this together. This prompt definitely I had a lot to say. I had a lot to say and I had a lot to journal in this prompt. And it really had me thinking, like, just on a whole different level. It put me in a place of deep acceptance, right? But it also had me thinking, like, wow, like you came from that space. You understand? Um, so this prompt in particular was, what have I mistaken as my identity that was really just my conditioning? And in Lotus Academy, by the way, if you haven't checked that out, check that out. Check out my YouTube channel. We talked about paradigms and we've talked about planting seeds, you know, and seeds that were planted in our internal world that really just kind of came from our upbringing and from our environments and things that were learned behavior, but not genuinely who we really were or who we really are on our soul level or who we choose to be, but more so ideologies that have been taught to us that we have taken on as our own identity. So it definitely had put me in that space. And it really caused me to kind of really, really think about, like, wow, how far I've come in the journey, and really trying to um, reprogram that aspect of myself. So I'm going to read it first and then we can dive in just a little bit deeper. But I challenge you all to take out your journals with me. And if you want to listen to the video first, that's fine. But really, really sit back and journal for yourself. What is it that you have mistaken as your identity, but it really was just your conditioning? So in my journal, I started with, I am everything I need to be to take the steps forward. And you are everything and encompass everything that you need to be in order to take steps forward. A lot of the times we feel as though we need to get everything together first before we can start to make the change. But the truth is, like, the change starts now where you are. You don't make the change after, like, learning all the information and then getting started. You get started in the moment or in the moments, and then you learn as you go. And so some of my prayers to share that with you was, like, especially for me, because I used to suffer from really bad imposter syndrome. Like, I used to feel like I had to have this perfection and everything had to look a certain way in order for me to get started. And so my prayer has been, lately, just asking God to reveal the next step or guiding me in my next step and allowing the finishing product to stay with God, but just guiding me in that way because it allows me to get and find more comfort in the unknown, especially if you're someone who deals with control problems. I have really bad control issues where I had to know what was coming next for me. That was the only way that I knew how to survive because that's how I was taught to expect the unexpected. And it's like, really, when you lean in faith, there's no such thing. It's just you leaning in faith, and you just have to have that trust that everything is always working out for you. So you have everything that you need right now in this moment to get started. And the things that you need along the way that you have to learn will be revealed along the process. You don't have to already have that. So I said, oh wow, this is heavy. There has been so many, but what stands out the most is the teaching from my environment in my childhood. The essence of being this ride or die or strong chick. I come from an environment where, especially in the hood, like, you know, you see those dynamics where it's like, and I don't I want to be careful how I place my words, and I don't want to sound judgmental, right? So I'm only speaking from my perspective. This is not to insult anybody, so take this with grace. But coming from my environment, what I perceive through my lens is like, you see a lot of hood things or things happening in your life where it requires a certain DNA or a makeup of a woman, especially for me, like, you got the guy that makes all the money and he hustling, follow me. And you need to be ride or die. You need to be equipped. You need to be able to know how to navigate that, especially if he find himself into something, or, you might have to be able to step in and handle things when he get home. Or you may have to be able to do what needs to be done when you being questioned a certain way. Or you might have to take a drive on a Greyhound in order to get things going where y'all going. So for me, loyalty was put on such a high pedestal. Now, I still believe in integrity and loyalty. I really, let's just be very clear. Let me put that out there. Like, loyalty is number one for me. I got it tatted, love and loyalty. But I think I got the confusion of overcompensating and loyalty as simultaneous and being the same thing. And my loyalty looked like codependency. So I had to redefine that for myself, because I was finding myself doing a lot of things that I did not want to do for people that was not deserving of that. You understand? I was giving my loyalty to people who wasn't deserving of that. Or I was finding myself in certain situations with family members because of this thought process of needing to be overly obligated and holding that on a pedestal with loyalty. And I was really confusing the two. So let me get back to that. Um, the essence of being this ride or die strong chick, not soft, you know, not resilient, but strong. And I think that Black women in our community face that a lot. Like, you hear this Black woman was so strong. But I heard this feminine coach say this: don't call me strong. You understand what I'm saying? Like, call me resilient, not strong. I'm not a man. You understand? Like, I don't want to be strong. And excuse the tone that comes with that. But when you think about strong, you're like, oh, like, like you got the muscles. And it's like, I'm resilient. I can overcome everything. But being strong is a little bit different to that, because when I feel like when you say the word strong, it comes with so much to that. It's like, I'm gonna put this on top of you, and I'm gonna put this on top of you because I know you strong and I know you can handle it. And it's just like, nah, don't put that on me just to put that on me because you feel like I can handle it. No, like, don't put me through that because you feel like I can handle it. Like, I'm not your doormat. Like, don't do that to me. You know what I'm saying? Don't put that on me, and don't put that on my plate because you just feel like, oh, she'll get over it and she'll figure it out because she's strong. No, I'm resilient. And them is two different things. I can overcome anything because I have that mindset and I got that grit. But don't just put things on my plate because you feel like I'm strong and tough. Like, when I was younger, my mom she always used to say, you got to be a tough cookie. So I didn't have opportunities to fail, if that makes sense. Like, when I went to go get my license, she gave me a look. You better take it and you better pass it this first time because I'm not coming back to take you again to pass this. Or, what you mean you got a C? What you mean you got a B? Where was the A? Why you couldn't get the A? Or, you got to figure it out. You have to know how to cook. You have to know how to clean. You have to know how to do all of the things. You have to know that because you're a woman and you need to be able to depend on yourself. Now, there were a lot of great things that came from that teaching, but there were also a lot of things that I could have saved the lesson on because of how I perceived it and how it became my belief system. And there was no room for mistakes. Instead of being in flow with life and God and just accepting that I'm protected and God is always working in my favor, I had this lens of life that I always was dealing with hardship. There was no going outside and smelling the roses, or even the idea of everything in my life is always working out for me in my best interest. For so long, I have been carrying this weight that at some point it was breaking me down. I could feel it on my body, and my body was aching. Seeing it in my eyes. I remember that one day I just had to let it go. It was in every aspect of my life. I was carrying the weight of my parents. I was carrying the weight of my partner. I was everything to everybody. I was trying to figure out how to get my partner to get to the next place, all while managing children, all while also trying to figure out how to get to the place where I was going. But again, that go with the loyalty instead of like sitting back and really observing what was happening in my life and saying, like, maybe this person is not for you. Maybe this person doesn't want the things that you want, but instead you're trying to pull them along to the finish line because you're trying to prove to them how much of a ride or die chick you are. You want them to come to the finish line with you and not even really even asking them and taking notes to see if they really want to get to where you're going. You understand what I'm saying? Or I'm carrying the weight of everybody else and I'm putting this pressure. So when I'm leading with everybody else in mind instead of leading with myself and what it is that I want. And so I never forget, I was talking to my therapist and I said to my therapist, like, my whole life, I just feel like I've been carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders and it's getting to me. Like, is this normal? Why do I feel like from a little girl, I've been carrying this weight of the world on my shoulders and feeling like I had to figure out all the answers at such a young age. And my therapist said something that was just so groundbreaking for me. He told me instead of carrying these bags, try standing on top of them. And that hit me like a ton of bricks because it gave me the ability to look at my life differently. And so I'm going to finish reading, but I started getting into my affirmations at that point. And so when he said that to me, it was like speaking something foreign because it's something I never did before. Like, what do you mean stepping on top of my bags? How is that even possible? Stepping on top of my bags, like standing on top of them, not pulling them? I could do that? Like, it was really like, oh shit, I could do that. I could do that. I could stand on top of my bags. Who said I had to carry them? And in that moment, I was able to see the weight that I was carrying that wasn't mine. The person that always had to have it together, that identity wasn't mine. That was an identity that was given to me through the perception of my childhood self, because I felt like what I was learning from my parenting was you always have to have it together. You don't have the option to be weak. There is no such thing of you being weak. You have to be the strong one. And so as an adult, what I perceived that was like, oh, she's tough. She could carry all the bags up the stairs by herself in the car seat. She could build the beds and she could build the dressers and all of that. But I got a man sitting right here. And I'm thinking by me doing all of this, it's going to get him to see me. He's going to be like, oh, my woman is tough. She's tough. She could do all of the things. I ain't even got to do that. She could do all of the things. Not realizing that he was like, oh, she could do all of that. I ain't got to do a damn thing. Because she going to figure it out because she's strong. So I'm going to put it on her plate. I'm not going to get my shit together. I don't have to get my shit together because she's going to figure it out. She's strong. She's going to pay my bills and her bills and take care of the kids. Right? And so it was like, oh, I don't have to be that. I don't have to be this version of myself that I was taught to be or perceived to be. I think what I was supposed to take from those lessons that my mother was teaching me was resilience. Like life is going to hit you with a multitude of things, and you have to be able to get yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going and not sitting in that. But that's not what I perceived as a little girl. I perceived something different, which bared a different fruit for me. And I started to attract things where I had to carry people weight and fix things up to the point to where even in my relationships with certain men, they mothers would depend on me because they know I had it. They didn't care that I was a single mother at the time. They didn't care that I had things I had to do. They didn't care that I was still in college. They didn't care that I was working full time, being a mother full time. No, they was like, oh, you seem like you fix shit. hmm So my son is going through this. I don't have to worry about it anymore because you in his life, so you figure it out. And here I am. Oh, okay. I'm loyal. He's gonna love me because I'm proving to him that nobody else in his life is gonna do the things that I'm doing. Not realizing that I was burning myself out. I was creating age for myself without even being that age. And so I really had to change the lens of the things that my upbringing taught me. You know, coming from somewhere like I came from and having the type of parenting that I had, it's either black or white. There was no gray. And I remember being in therapy one time and my therapist telling me, like, you got a great distrust for the world. And I was like, girl, please. Everything in my life thus far that I've been through, the way that I am has gotten me over that. And it wasn't till maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that I just woke up one day and I was just tired. A little bit over 2 years ago, I was just tired. I was like, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of just overly giving myself. I don't want to be the strong one no more. Like I literally gave up on being the strong one. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not working for me. I need to figure out what else I need to do. And then my therapist gave me that. Like, yo, try standing on top of your bags. And it took me some time to fully understand what my therapist was telling me. It took me some time to grow into that. That looked like creating boundaries. That looked like creating safe spaces for myself and accepting that people are going to be who they are. And although they are who they are, I don't just have to deal with them just because. Standing on my bags look like, how do I conquer it without pulling the weight and letting it break me down? And so it was just a dramatic shift for me, my paradigm in my life, and the way I choose to show up each and every day moving forward. So, continuing in my reading, I put, I am love, I am loved, I am loving. Everything in my life is always working out for me. Mothering is beautiful, mothering is joy, mothering is a blessing. I am connected to all that is, and I am so grateful for the sun, the moons, and the stars, and the earth. Amen. Ashe. So I challenge each and every one of you, the listeners, the viewers, to challenge yourself and really sit with yourself in this journal prompt. What is it that you have assumed as your identity? That you have chosen to believe to be true about yourself that is not really you? And I know that's different than what I gave you before. I'm paraphrasing. Let me read the exact journal prompt. What have I mistaken as my identity that was really just my conditioning? What have you mistaken as your identity that was just really your conditioning? And really sit with that and be gracious with yourself and be accepting with yourself and also be real with yourself. Being real with yourself is key because sometimes it's very hard to look in the mirror. Sometimes when you look in the mirror and you accept certain things, it will cause what I like to say a tower moment for everything that you believe to be true in your life at one point. And that's okay. It's okay. It's okay to let the old foundation fall because you rebuild it. And when you let things fall and you get things out the way and you let certain things go, you leave room for new things to come in. So I leave that with each and every last one of you. I love you. Be gracious with yourself. Be loving to yourself. Be accepting to yourself. And most of all, be kind to yourself. These changes will not happen overnight. This is a multitude of things that you will contribute and do for yourself. If you love content like this, if you like content like this, or even if you found this helpful, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Send this to somebody else who's also in need. This is never a replacement for getting professional help. If you feel like this is just a tip of scratching the surface, I highly recommend seeking professional help. I am sending you all so much love, so much light. You have purpose. We need you. We love you. Peace be with you. And until next time, Faye, aka Gal. I love y'all.